Boom.
Check. 1 2.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. All right, we're recording. Yeah. All right. Darin Rios, motherfucking Rios, of Your Club Sucks, the clothing brand. You've worked with Johnny Depp, Chance the Rapper, and Usher by shooting them photography. Yep. So, just to kind of give the listeners a little bio of who you are, what you've done, I want to take it back to when you started, because you're a creative dude. You are a very, very creative dude.
Yes, sir. Look what I just did. I just put my gum in my cap. That's creativity at its finest.
There it is. I mean, I don't want to sound overzealous, but yes, creativity at its finest.
There you go.
But I want to talk about your beginnings, about growing up in Florida and how you found your creativity. So if you'd care to share with
yeah, I grew up in Orlando, Florida. And I think a lot of it has to do with, not to sound dark or depressive or anything, but I was abandoned as a child a lot. So my dad was a truck driver, and it wasn't like intentional abandonment where it was like, oh, left me at a doorstep, but it was, my dad worked Monday through Sunday pretty much. Sometimes he'd have like a day or two off. And so I'd only see my dad, every now and then. And then my mom was an alcoholic at the time, so she would, leave me crying in my crib or leave me alone in my room, and then she'd be drinking on the porch or whatever. But she wasn't like a drunk. She just was, I don't know, she just liked to drink. So she wasn't chronic, I guess, drunk, if that's a thing. But anyway, so I had a lot of time by myself at an early age. So my mom, I came up with this imaginary friend named Nickel. And I used to always like talk to him, my mom would say, and I was always drawing. So because I was left alone a lot as a child, I had no other choice but to be in my imagination. So sometimes I would even like crawl into like a laundry basket, close my eyes and like hold on to the basket and act like I was literally like flying through the clouds and shit like that. And like I would like lean and like sometimes I'd put myself up onto the couch. It's funny because now that I'm talking about it, it's like coming back to me super fresh. I get on the couch, get in the basket because the pillows were kind of like unstable, so it felt like I was on a cloud. And I would do this stuff at like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old.
It's crazy, man.
So anyway, like I would even do it because like Aladdin was like, when Aladdin came out or whatever, I would get onto like my blankets or my mattress or my carpets and like hold on to the edges of it and just, yeah, dude, just thinking like, feeling like I was like flying around the world. So I would do that a lot, not realizing as a child that was my means of escape and like sanity. Yeah. So so that's kind of where it started for me, now that I've been thinking about it. But
but then you were mentioning last time that you had become a little bit older and you started to get interested in photography.
Yeah, so
and then you would tell people this and they wouldn't be supportive of your idea. And I think that's a really important point to point out, because
absolutely
at some point in people's lives they've experienced that too, where they've had some type of goal where they wanted to complete, and then they would share it with people, and then people would just shit on their dreams, on their goals.
Oh, totally. So that was like the basis of my creativity, I think, where it spawned. But as I got older, when I was about 18, I was like 16, 17, I wanted to be a graphic designer. So I kind of started dabbling with Corel Draw and stuff like that, and like making little business cards for this church that I went to. I was like, hey guys, look, this is what I did. Like, if you can use it, you can have it, blah, 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 blah. So my cousin was like, dude, you should use Photoshop. So I started using Photoshop, and then I was like, I'm going to make a t-shirt line. So I started designing t-shirts and like saved a few $100s. And then I remember people used to always tell me, dude, you're pretty good at taking pictures. Every time I would take pictures with their little cameras and stuff, they'd be like, dude, this is really good. So I was like, I wonder if I could ever get into photography. So then I stumbled on this photographer's website, and I was just like, holy cow, that's what I want to do. And it just clicked. So I had like $700 saved for my t-shirt line, went and bought a camera, didn't know what the hell I was doing, just bought this Olympus E500, and which Olympus is an amazing brand, but yeah, I just started taking pictures like bushes and trees and fucking, mulch and shit on the ground, and as artistic as I could. And I would show up at this church that I was going to at the time, and I was pretty involved there. So people knew me. So some of my friends and like leaders or whatever, they would just be like, "Yo, are you like a photographer now?" I'm like, well, I mean, I just bought a camera. I was so afraid to be like, yes, I'm a photographer now. Yeah. Because I had nothing to show for it, Right. So like when you're first starting something, you just kind of feel like, and me being, I guess, the person that I am, anytime somebody doesn't reinforce something in me, I just take that so like bad. Right. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I do suck because they didn't say I was good. Right. So I suck, versus like now I'm like, no, I'm fucking good. Like I'm going to start this and I know I'm probably going to suck at first, but I'm going to get good. Right. So in the beginning, when I picked up the camera, people were just like, oh, like, what are you, a photographer now? Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, So that
doubts about yourself because people were questioning you. Big time. Because you didn't have anything to show for it. Mm-hmm. You weren't confident about saying that this is what I do. But I think that's so important because now one of the things that you created was Trust Your Dopeness, this saying where people were like stealing your shit and posting it all over. And I think that's a really important saying is Trust Your Dopeness, is to have self-confidence in yourself. But that doesn't come by just sitting on the couch and complaining about shit. It doesn't come by not taking action and putting yourself out there to be embarrassed or exposed or things like that. You have to actually go through that stuff in order to build up some resistance and experience in order to feel that way.
Yeah, it's important because, man, as sucky as it is going through those states of like not feeling good enough, feeling like, what the fuck am I doing? Who do I think I am? Blah, blah, blah. Like we all have these stories in our subconscious that we tell ourselves, like who we are. You are this person. You don't deviate from this path. Wherever that story came from, your parents or your best friends or whoever your influence was at an early age. So anytime you try a new thing, there's always going to be resistance from you and resistance unconsciously from other people. So you have to know, like, I don't need to listen to these lies that I'm telling myself. Like, I can literally be whoever the fuck I want to be. Right. And so pushing past that is a really hard thing. So I pushed past it a few times, and I started recognizing when I started doing fashion design, I like literally thought all fashion designers know how to sew. So I was like, cool, I saw this fashion designer, I was like, I want to do that. So I literally told my girlfriend, I'm going to go buy a sewing machine. Bought a sewing machine, came, watched a shit ton of YouTube videos. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of YouTube videos on how to make t-shirts and like stuff like that. So I figured it out. And so I know how to make shirts like this, like how to sew this and do all that kind of stuff, just from like a Walmart sewing machine. And then I found out, oh, that guy doesn't know how to sew. My influence doesn't know how to sew. He's just a guy with money. So I was like, oh, fuck, well, now I've acquired the skill. So anyways, I made another fashion line, I didn't mention you, called Pirates and Hooligans before the one that I have now, Your Club Sucks. And so I was making all this stuff, and then I kind of put it out on the social media, and then I started seeing it in Forever 21, H&M, ripping my designs verbatim. And I'm like, holy fuck, like, what? No. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. Because they say, like, the biggest show of flattery is what is it?
Imitation. Or something like that.
Something like that. So I was like, fuck, okay, I'm doing something right. So that all ties into the whole Trust Your Dopeness thing, because I remember feeling highly discouraged, and I had an office downtown that I shared with some buddies of mine, and I remember writing on that sticky note, trust your dopeness. Just trust what you're doing is dope. Just, you don't need anybody's permission. So I wrote it, felt super insecure about it because my handwriting was all off, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm going to post it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to post it. That's corny. Like, this sounds super corny. Like, look at my handwriting. Boom. Anyways, posted it anyway because if I didn't post it, like, what the fuck's the point of writing it? So I was like,
yeah,
I'm going to trust my dopeness here. And I did it. Anyway, my girlfriend was like, you should make t-shirts out of that. 5 months go by. I was like, hey, I finally made a shirt. And she's like, oh, awesome. Look at the hashtag. And like 44,000 people reposted it. There were people in Africa, in the UK, all over the world, probably like 3 or 4 different countries, making brands from my handwriting.
Hashtag trust your dopeness.
Yeah. And they're like, I'm like, dude, these people are wearing my handwriting on t-shirts. And then Alicia Keys reposted it, and like World Star Hip Hop reposted it, and like Little Bow Wow and stuff like that. All these little, big and little celebrities, whatever, were like posting my shit. And I was like, okay. And I almost didn't post that because I was afraid of like
your handwriting,
my handwriting.
Yeah.
And it became a thing.
That's so wild.
Yeah. So I trademarked it, whatever. And like I made it hit real hard in the fitness world. So I kind of made like some fitness stuff for it and whatever. And so that's how that happened.
That's awesome, dude. All right, cool. Thanks for sharing that. And I have these questions down a little bit because you had mentioned something like, hey, you should probably prepare some questions in order to do these interviews. I'm like, you know what? That sounds about right. And so I took some advice from the Don himself, Darin, and wrote these down. But you were talking last time of an episode that I'm not going to post, but about how you go in and out of depressive states. And this is something that I experience as well. And I'm sure this is something that everybody experiences as well. It's just like, you're not happy all the time. So when you're not happy, you can kind of slide down into maybe self-pity and feelings of like not worthy enough. These are very like depressive states. So like, how has that experience either hindered or helped? Because I feel that, and this is something I was having a conversation yesterday at dinner. It's like, this is all part of the journey, man. Because when I'm in the depressive states, I like come up with ideas that I would not have come up with if I was in a very happy state. Yeah. There's certain emotions and there's certain feelings that you can dive real deep into and explore in these saddened states that help you to get back into the happy state. So it's like this ebb and flow of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to learn to be present in whatever mood you're in. Because a lot of the times when we're in a depressive state, we think like we're thinking about the future, and not just our future, but we're looking at everybody else and their future, and then their present, social media, whatever. It's like, and then we start finding ourselves, comparing ourselves to other people. But what I'm starting to learn is that like, this shit comes and goes. You have ups and you have downs. Everybody does. It's just a fact of life. So the only way that I learned to like manage my downs, and I had a really bad down recently through like the holidays or whatever, but I just sit and be quiet and think like, what the hell is going on? One, what's triggering this? Two, everything's gonna be okay. I have to remind myself, I'm fine, dude. Just like ride this shit out. Tomorrow's another day. It might suck too, but then there's gonna be another day after that. And it's gonna get better, and just learning to appreciate all of it, and almost look at yourself from an outsider's perspective. But what I think it does is like, once you understand that it's just a part of life for everybody, it really helps you get through it. I don't find myself being creative. Like, if anything, it's the complete opposite. Like, I feel like dying, it's like horrible. You're like, fuck, like everything I do sucks, blah, blah, blah. Like, woe is me, like, fuck my life. You know what I mean? But then it's like, one thing I loved about my mom is that she had a really hard life. And she went from like being sexually abused at a very early age to all kinds of crazy shit growing up, to being addicted to drugs, to cutting all that shit out, to becoming just an alcoholic, right? Which is still bad, but it's a long way from where she was. But even in her worst states, like, she was abused when she and my dad split. She was abused brutally by the guy that she was with after my dad. And every time I would talk to my mom, she was like, this happened, that happened, this happened. But you know what? Life is good. Life is good. Life is great. So I think, and she was genuinely like happy, you know, even though she was like fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think seeing that has helped me deal with my dark moments too.
Yeah.
And my dad, I'll never forget it. He was like, I forgot how I talked about suicide one time with him when I was younger. He's like, that's for cowards. He's like, if like you can't just end your life. And that's his opinion, you know, whatever. But that just rings through my head. I'm like, he's like, you'll be fine. Just push through it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to tap out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've experienced a lot in my life, and a lot of people who are going through way worse shit than I am or have ever been through, and they still keep pushing. I'm like, well, why can't I?
Yeah.
You know, so I just kind of remind myself. And then when I come out and I'm in a better state, I feel so much better. Like, I feel like they say every level there's a new boss, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, man, like when I'm in that depressive state, that's a new boss, and I'm going to come out on top on a new level, and it's going to come again. But while I'm here, while I'm happy, while I got this motivation, like I'm going to fucking tackle shit.
Yeah.
And that all goes back into no wasting time, living in the moment, being happy now, because the depression and the sadness and whatever is always going to come. Mm-hmm. So you might as well enjoy the happiness while you have it.
Sure.
And when that shit hits again, just be ready for it. You know, just know that this is a part of life. I'll be all right.
Yeah. And I think it's so important too that you not only, for me personally, I find that I grow the most when I'm in these types of sad states, because it's difficult to do. And one of the ways that I get out is, for one, it's exercising.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is a big one, because it actually affects the chemicals that are in your brain in order to help you feel better. So if I'm feeling like shit, dude, like, I mean, you know this, it's like hit the gym, get those
10
endorphins.
minutes, 30 minutes. You don't even have to go crazy. Just get your heart rate going.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you feel like shit, one of the ways to get out of feeling like shit is just like immediately go to the gym, and you
100%.
immediately feel like better. Get
It's
a
crazy.
nice, like good sweat, a good workout in, and you automatically feel better.
Dude, for sure.
But on top of that, like on top of the gym, like seeking out to do difficult things and challenging yourself and finding ways that you actually suck in. Like, I recently had an interview, and I thought I was gonna nail this shit. I was reading the job description. I was like, this is all the stuff that I do anyway. Yeah. And then I went in the job interview, and the interviewer was giving me hypothetical examples of how to use a certain product for a specific reason, or how would this company use this product. And dude, I was just like so flabbergasted by how much I didn't understand about the product, and it wasn't a good thing, man. Yeah. I felt very embarrassed, and I felt like shit, and I drove home, and I was like, fuck, in my car, fuck, and I was just so pissed. Yeah. But through that, you know, I was like, you know what? Let me just take a chill pill. I came back to my apartment, and I just fucking crashed out on my bed for like 2-3 minutes, and just was like,
just take a minute.
Oh yeah, let me just take a minute. And then I was like, all right, let me find out about this product. So I downloaded the app and went through the flow and everything, and then the next day I typed in a thank you email and said, hey, this is an idea I have, that, you know, how I could use the product, how we could use the product to make this thing work. So I think it's taking some action that is going to help you to become stronger by getting out of that depressive state.
Dude, 100%, man. And that I've screamed like that in my car numerous times. Yeah. And fucking that, you know what that is? That is life telling you, here comes the pressure to make you better. Yeah. And we don't like that shit, because our brain is like, no, stay comfortable. Don't push yourself. Like, no, be comfortable. Yeah. It's like survival, like, I forget what part of your brain they call it, but
amygdala.
That is telling you, no, comfortability. But life is like, no, progression. Yeah. Like, you're not a piece of coal. You're a diamond. I'm gonna get that shit out of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. And really, you're not yelling at yourself, or you're yelling at fucking just life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we all go through that shit. So a little bit of pressure never hurt anybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I think a little bit of pressure is kind of the way that I've been approaching life in order to help grow, because, man, there's people are going through like massive struggle, man.
For sure, dude.
Fuck. I mean, I want to grow, but how much do I really want to grow, Like, I don't want to get through those to be in those positions where I'm like in some type of health situation where I have to fucking do this or that,
Yeah.
I just like, Drake said something very important. He said he's been very lucky not to have a very like extremely challenging situation to where he was able to grow and grow and grow without having to be like fucking completely annihilated by some type of health issue.
Yeah. Some people are lucky.
Dude, some people are lucky, and I've been very blessed as well to be one of those people, man. I mean, my podcast is Lucky Brain, so.
Yeah. And one thing I love that Tony Robbins says is like, the key to happiness is progress.
Yeah.
Even if it's something as simple as making your bed in the morning, start like that. And you might be frustrated and like, oh, who the fuck likes doing chores? But once you do them, you know how good you feel afterwards?
Yeah. Cause you're getting shit done.
Yeah, dude.
You're getting shit done, dude. Jordan Peterson talks about this, as well. He just has a book, 12 rules for life or something in the sort. But he says, like, stand up straight, like carry yourself like you are progressing, whether it's making your bed. And who else says this as well? I think there's a lot of there's probably actually science behind making your fucking bed, how that improves your day.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And improves your life by making your bed.
Little by little. It's everything in the macro, like in the micro reflects in the macro. You know what I mean? Like the small things that you do is a reflection of the big picture. Yeah. And if you can't do those small things, like you're just sewing in your head, I can never do the big things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I can't even do something as little as clean the dishes, what the fuck makes you think I can manage a fucking multi-million-dollar company? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
And then once you're managing that multi-million-dollar company, it's like, well, I don't have to do dishes anymore. I did them. Now I have somebody do them for me, whatever. Yeah. Or maybe I still do them. I don't know. But like, it's the story you're telling yourself. You know what I mean? Let your actions portray that story, if that makes sense. Yeah. So. Yeah,
totally. And if you start out by doing the small little tasks and getting used to completing those, like whether it's like washing your dishes or cleaning your room or something along those lines, because that's exactly what I was doing when I was about like 16 years old. Yeah. And for whatever reason, like I knew that I felt like I didn't want to clean my room or make my bed or do the dishes or take out the trash, but for whatever reason I was drawn to that, and I knew it because every time I did that, afterwards I would feel good. Yeah. But completing those small little tasks gets you in the mode for completing bigger and bigger tasks. So I don't know if you're watching this right now and you're 18 and you're coming into the world as now technically an adult, it's very important to start doing these small little tasks in order to get you to the bigger tasks, because I feel like today's generation and even our generation is completely fucking weak compared to like our parents' generation
for sure.
and their parents' generation going through wars and shit. Like that is some real tough life to be living. And
yeah, the discipline in generations is different. Yeah. And it's it becomes habit. So like at first it sucks, and then the second time it sucks, but then eventually it's like, I just do it. This is just what I do, and we're creatures of habit. So the more good habits you can form in your life, the better your life is going to be, because then you're just on autopilot doing these constructive habits that are shaping your life into the person that you actually want to become. Yeah. But if you don't ever shape those habits, then you'll never shape your life. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And quite the contrary too is if you are fucking up all the time, you're drinking too much, you're smoking too much, you're eating too much, you're not doing the dishes, all of that is habitual as well. So if we're creatures of habit, you fall into that rut. Yeah. And they say that success nor failure is an immediate event. This is from a book called The Slight Edge Theory by Jeff Olson, I think is the author. But small little incremental decisions either made in the right or wrong direction that's going to lead you there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, boom, I'm successful, fuck yeah, or oh boom, I failed. But it's all these little not doing the dishes choices, habits, things that we cultivate in our lives in order to accumulate this where we are today.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all, but it's possible. That's the thing. So we can't ever think that it's going to be easy. We just have to know that it's going to be possible.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be easy either.
No.
I think and because of the difficulty, that is the challenges that we need in order to become stronger. Like, you're not going to get stronger without stressing your body, your mind.
No.
Because if you're sitting on the couch playing video games, that is like very easy stuff. Very easy stuff. Or sitting on the couch and watching TV, it doesn't require much of brain power. It doesn't require much physical activity, as opposed to going to the gym, as opposed to reading a book, as opposed to learning a new software, say for example Photoshop, increasing your skills. So do something difficult in order to increase your life. But just closing on this, because we're about to close. Finally, I wanted to mention this because, man, you've done some really, really cool things, and Trust Your Dopeness is one of them. So when you were working with Johnny Depp, and you needed to trust your dopeness, and you were doubting yourself going to the gig, tell me a little bit about that in the next couple minutes.
So I got the call. So in 2012, I just got this urge to write on my Facebook, I'm gonna work with Johnny Depp soon. I don't know when or how, but watch. And I was in my 100 square foot apartment, like about to lose my apartment because I had no money, and a buddy of mine had to pay my rent, and I just felt this urge, so I did it. And then 3 years later, I ended up working with these people, and then 3 years later, they hit me up, hey man, are you free? I did the job, or they're like, we got a job. So I was like, who is it? And they're like, you're gonna be shooting with Johnny Depp for 4 days. Art department needs you to shoot.
That's wild.
This. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I knew it.
That is fucking wild.
I knew it. I don't have an agent. I don't have anybody repping me. I'm not a union photographer. I'm just little old me who did a job for the right people at the right time years prior, and then they hit me up. So I was super excited. The day of, I start driving to set, and I'm like, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? This is too high caliber for you. You're just going to botch it, and it's going to be humiliating for you. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? And I remember driving, and I was like, fuck, maybe I think I'm going to go home. I can't do this. And I was like, nope, shut the fuck up. Whether you fail or not, go. Do it. And I was like, because there is a chance that you could succeed. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to take that chance.
Yeah.
And I almost turned around, dude. I almost did. And I was so terrified. Anyways, I got there. Johnny was super late. Whatever. He jumps out of the car when he does get on set. And I'm the first person he sees. And he's in full prosthetics. And he's like, what's up? I was like, what's up? You ready? And he's like, are you ready? Fuck yeah, let's get this. And he's smoking his cigarette. He like stomps it out and gives me a high five. He's like, let's do this. Nicest guy I've ever met. And so anyways, when my time came to shoot him, the sun had already gone down and I didn't have my lighting. I was like, oh, fuck. Here it goes. I failed. I fucking failed. Whatever. At least I got to hang out with Johnny Depp. So I start, as they're like, all right, stills, we need you to take photos. So I was like, all right, cool. So I walked up. I was like, all right, Johnny, we're going to do this. He's like, all right, what do you need? What do you need? I was like, it doesn't matter because we don't have any light. Like I'm thinking. And sure enough, a fucking light like the ones you have here just comes out of nowhere, on. And as I put my camera up, that light turned on, and I look, and the director of photography is like, where do you want me, boss? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Where did that come from? I didn't even know that was on set. And then his assistant came around with a bounce board. Tell me where you want me, boss. And I was like, yo, I didn't even like these guys when I got on set. I was like, man, they're douchebags.
Yeah.
They saved my life. And I was like, boy, was I wrong about these people. So anyway, and I shot it and whatever, and those images went all around the world.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't do it.
The reason why I wanted you to share that story is because I think it's important, because so many of us, we don't want to do these things because we're scared we might fail or whatever, but just trusting your dopeness and trusting in your ability to, you know, get whatever you need to get out of life is super important. And being able to take that risk and doing it, there's going to be opportunity that pops up. And in your case, it was these lights, the bounce board, but you put yourself in a position in order to make those chances happen in your favor. So I wanted the listeners to hear this, because if you're thinking about doing something that you want to do and you're having doubts, trust your dopeness.
Absolutely.
And see where it goes, because if you fail, you'll learn and you'll become stronger. And if you succeed, well, there you go.
Yep.
Bada bing, bada boom. Darin, let's close, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.